what would you do if you bought a piece of land and you moved onto it and somebody came like a month or a year later and basically said, this land belongs to my family and we are the original native stewards of this land? Actually a reality of what we might start to deal with here in Hawaii. And I just want to start opening up this conversation and this discourse about kuleana lands and private land ownership in 2024 in Hawaii. So kuleana lands, for those of us that are not in the know, and I'm not like a political science person, so this is just a brief explanation, are basically back in the Mahele, in the Mahele time of our history, land was split up for private ownership. Previous to that, there was no private land ownership here in Hawaii. Everybody shared aina, everybody borrowed or utilized or had a space that they would tend to and steward, but it wasn't like private land ownership. So the Mahele comes, land gets divided. One section of land that's divided is for makainana or commoners, and that land is pretty much like you can stake a claim to. So during the Mahele, you could come in and do a whole bunch of paperwork to get a piece of land that was like not awarded but claimed by your ohana, to say like, this is the land that our family has had, you know, for generations, has been stewarding and working and blah 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 blah. So you got the land commission award, and then there were many things obviously that barred Hawaiians at the time from going and getting a land commission award. Not only were we dealing with a really bad bout of ma'ioku'u, which was a really bad sickness that had people just bedridden and tons of people were dying, but also Hawaiians weren't exactly keen to learn a whole new language and a whole new process, and this was like a totally foreign concept to them, right? Like private land ownership didn't make any sense to them, so it didn't make any sense why they would leave their family that they're tending to and caring for, that's literally on their deathbed, to go fill out a paper that they don't even know or think that they need, right? So lots of people didn't get land commission awards, but there were plenty of families that did. So this is where it gets a little messy. Here in 2024, what would happen if you buy a piece of land? Let's say you buy an acre of land on Molokai, for example, okay? You buy an acre of land on Molokai and you start to build your home on it, and people see that you're starting to build, and they come and they say, oh, my family's been stewarding this piece of aina for this many generations, and here's our palapala, and here's our mo'okuauhau that connects us to this place, and da-da-da-da-da-da. So they could pull up and say, here's my land commission award from the time of the Mahele. Here is what we were given for our family to steward for the rest of the Pai'aina's foreseeable future. And then you pull up with your 2024 TMK and you're like, yeah, well, I just bought this for $1 million, and this paper right here says that I own this land and I can do whatever I want with this land. It gets messy, right? And like for Hawaiians, it gets really messy, because what do? If you, a Hawaiian, has worked really hard your entire life to be able to afford a little crumb back of what we really as Hawaiians deserve and should be stewarding, and like you work so hard and you go through this huge process just to find out that another Native Hawaiian family has claim to that aina, right? And then it opens up like the whole conversation about, okay, well, that first mahele was also like a Western wool over the sheep's eyes kind of like manipulative tactic. So it's like they're both Western American concepts of private land ownership. But Jade brought up a great point, and she was saying, well, yeah, but I think land commission awards are one of the very few ways that we have left to kind of see like direct genealogical ties to aina here in Hawaii. So what do you guys think? Like, this is a very important conversation for the future of our Pai'aina as we start to move into you know, this era of everybody buying aina and more people becoming familiar with the process of land commission awards, with claiming kuleana aina and all of that kind of stuff. I'm just curious, what do we think? Like, how should that happen? What are some problems that are going to come up when we start to see this happening more often? Because apparently I wasn't really privy to it, but Jade comes from Lahaina, and like kuleana aina and claiming kuleana land is like a not new concept to them in Lahaina. But it's very, I mean, not new on Oahu, but there are not very many people that do it, versus in Lahaina and on other, like, more rural places, I guess, in Hawaii, it's pretty common. So, yeah, what do we think? How do we navigate this? I guess this is just not really something that I ever foresaw happening or like coming up. I don't know, it always seemed like a far away future for us to buy a house and like just like this far off concept. And then, you know, Jade's background of Lahaina and Kuleana Aina, yeah, just a big conversation that's been coming up in our house lately that I think is good for us all to think about and talk about on like a Pai Aina scale. Okay, what do you guys think?